Very good, very good.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is our pledge of allegiance. So if everyone please stand, face the flag. This is our tradition. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. Oh, Joe. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the meeting, of the minutes of the prior meeting. You have that in your board pack. Anybody has any additions, corrections, adjustments, deletions?
I didn't see anything, did you?
I didn't, so having read the minutes, I would make a motion that we accept them as written.
Mike makes a motion to approve as written.
I'll second that.
And George seconds that. Further discussion, hearing none. We'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries as written. Approval of claims. Walk us through that, if you would, please.
We have a few. There's 3 claims from Wessler, all for the airport road lift station. One in the amount of $12,484.40, $2,758.75, and $2,722.90. Times Union advertisement bid for the Arnault bid, $63.40. SES was our asbestos contract with them to identify the shingles on the Arnault building for $3,124.60. Barnes and Thornburg, $284 for ongoing legal services. Specific for the GACI MOU. Regions Corp Trust, $62,568.75. That is a bond payment for the Warsaw Commons. $141,485 is the one in the PVD bond two, I think, and $53,700 is the one in the PVD bond 3. $24,812.50. I believe that's the third one on the PVD bond. Yes. $85,000. These are all bond payments, obviously. $85,000 is the bond payment for Buffalo Street project. $187,500 is the bond payment for the Airport Industrial Park, and $950 is, I think, bond fees, admin fees for the Huntington National Bank. Cornerstone, $3,870 is for the ongoing design for the park out by the airport. The contract we signed a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Correct.
So those are the claims that we have.
And you will note there are no more bond payments to the Medtronic.
There or not.
That has expired. Okay. Any questions?
I just had one simple question on the SES. Do we know the results of their findings?
Yes.
Shingles there?
The shingles were asbestos, but they were not friable. So there is no special requirement in removing them other than they have to go to a landfill. They cannot be dumped in somebody's backyard. So they have to show proof they were delivered to a landfill that can take those asbestos shingles.
So just the shingles have to go to the landfill, the rest of it is free and clear, or do they say?
Technically,
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
I mean, obviously, we'd like to see it go to a landfill, not Bob's field, but the shingles per se have to go to a landfill that can take asbestos.
Is that a special landfill or just a landfill?
I think in general, most of them can take certain products,
Okay.
yes. But I think they're identified areas so that
They
you're
have
not
a-
out there
They have a
killing.
liner in them.
It's basically, you have to identify it so that you don't make it friable. So you can't go throw something out there that's gonna go through a wood chipper and turn it into drywall. So the demo can be done in a normal fashion, but you can't, they wanna put somewhere where it's identified and they know what products are there, so that they don't do something that creates a issue later.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the claims?
I move claims be approved as presented.
Rick moves to approve the claims as presented. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
George seconds that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All claims will be paid as presented. I will note that some of those bond payments are August 1st, but because of the timing, we want to get them in.
Yeah, we always try to do them ahead of time.
Okay, moving on to new business. Baker Tilly.
This is just for your information, you're not voting on it, but as part of our bond requirements, we have to do the annual continuing disclosure compliance. So this is for fiscal year ending December 31st of 2021. We pay Baker and Tilly to do this. I think there is a signature at the back that you have to sign, and we send back to them. So I'm getting it to you so you can basically say you've done it, sign it, and we'll send that back to Baker and Tilly. You can vote on it if you want, but I think you're just basically saying we received it.
I'll ask this, does anybody have any objection to us signing this? Hearing none, I will sign for us. Approval, and then Baker Tilly did the work.
Yeah, you have to sign it and George has to attest.
Well, that's different.
Yeah, now you want to change your mind?
I may not sign it.
Leave him hanging out there.
Strike that from the record. Okay, we will take care of that. Thank you very much. And the other thing is the electronic meeting policy that we've talked about numerous times in the past, and it appears you have a proposal for us.
Yes, this has come from, this is basically just a boilerplate agreement that came from AIM. So I'm not suggesting you approve this. I didn't give it a resolution number. I'm simply just putting it in your hand. You can review it over the next month, see if there's any questions you have, and then we can go from there on whether or not we want to make some changes, have it approved, so forth. But just wanted you to get a chance to look it over for a while and see how you feel about it. This is, like I said, it's a boilerplate agreement from AIM. I don't know if the city made any changes to theirs from what AIM had sent out, so.
Is Scott looking at this, or just to give it a quick?
I have not
I think
given it to
council
Scott
had
yet.
plenty of discussion, and we adjusted it. I think there was a few concerns the council had, but pretty
If-
much.
Yeah, I have not given this to Scott. If you want, we can invite Scott to the next meeting and have him talk about any changes or
I wonder,
concerns you have.
could we get a copy of the
We can
one
get a
that
copy.
was adopted by the council?
Yep,
And just send it out, email to us, so we have that as well, just for comparison purposes.
yep.
You all should note that this thing does not permit us just to automatically have
No.
Right.
electronic meetings. At least 50% of the members must be physically present unless the mayor or the governor declares an emergency. And then at that point, we can pretty much have
The mayor will be
meeting.
declaring an emergency.
So my
That-
thought was, you guys have a month to review it. I can have Scott, I can see if Scott can come to the next meeting. If you have any questions, you can send them to me and I can copy Scott in on that. Like I said, I didn't want to give this to him before you guys had your review of it. So I wasn't expecting to vote on this, just for your review, and then we can go from there.
This just meets the statutory requirements set up by the most recent legislation, so all the details are in there.
Yep.
The council added a couple things, but these are, I think, the bare minimum to set this up.
I read through it and I thought it pretty well covered everything that might pertain to us. I thought it was pretty,
Yeah, so did I. Probably with what the council said, I'll be okay with, but just maybe Scott should probably maybe look it over. I do think it's important to, in this day and age, to at least have this in case someone's ill, we need someone to participate as a quorum, or Rick doesn't feel up to coming, or I don't feel up, if I'm ill, we can, if we need it to have a quorum in a meeting, I think it's probably wise to have it in the.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, it wouldn't be something we did.
We would then have guidelines to go by
Mhm.
based on our policy that we adopt. Because if, there's things in here that I wouldn't have thought of, for instance, that if one person has to Zoom in or electronically join us, then that requires us then to have a roll call voice vote on every issue that comes up that we vote on that day. So, there's just some minor things there's some things with the recording the minutes. So I thought it'd be best we take a look at it, but Mike, are you saying that there's not that much difference between this and the council one?
I can't off the top of my head tell you what is different about it.
Well,
You might be more familiar with it than Mike.
I'll get the council copy
All
and
right.
send it out to you
But
guys.
I thought it covered all the bases
Yeah.
that we need.
Good.
Yeah.
I think the only thing council, they wanted to limit the number of meetings. They didn't want people to just going to Florida for 6 months and calling in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this
I
kind
think
of,
they made an adjustment, but I just read through it, this is very, very close to it.
this says you can have two in a row,
Right.
and then, but you have to be
You can't
back,
have more than 50% of the total meetings for the year.
right, and you can have two you can electronically join two in a row, and then but then you have to be here physically before you have another one.
And I think-
And you have to, you're right, it requires 50% or more of participation physically
And
present.
there's items that you cannot deliberate on, period. So someone couldn't call in.
Right.
It's like a budget discussion.
Right,
And that's in here.
that's
That's-
Yeah,
listed.
Right, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, that's in there.
Budget and personnel matters.
And the other big difference, I think, is council meets twice a month. So if you're gone for 2 months, you're gonna miss a bunch of meetings. But
Right.
We only meet once a month, and
That's good.
Right,
so I don't think it's
Right.
gonna really affect us like it would council.
that's true.
I was happy with this.
Good, good.
so take a look at it, send any comments to me, I'll get you a copy of the council's, and then I will see if we can have Scott here for the next meeting to discuss.
Okay,
Sure.
Thanks for keeping up on it, though.
yeah,
It was something we needed.
needed to be done, so we appreciate it. Any other comments, discussion? All right. We'll take a look at it, and we'll plan to bring it up as a resolution at the next meeting.
Yep.
So we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting to vote on, and so be prepared for that. Okay, very good. Thank you for putting that together, I appreciate it. Then, next thing on there is the demo agreement.
Yes, you have before you the Arnault contract for the demolition of the Arnault building with Green Demolition Contractors, Inc. This did go before the Board of Works. Open bids 2 weeks ago, went before the Board of Works on Friday to approve, award the contract to Green, which is the low bidder at $178,800, and they approved the contract. At the time, we were looking at 2 different funds to potentially fund the demolition. which is why the Board of Works approved it, but it will be fully funded out of the Redevelopment Commission general fund. We have $200,000 in that fund for capital improvements, which doesn't fall under. So this fund, that fund will pay for this demolition. So since it will come out of redevelopment, I need your approval for the contract.
Should we?
And I do have a fixed one with your signature line on it.
Okay, I gotta say. that-
Yes, you will sign it. So I do have and like I told Rick when we did all this, it was gonna be a combined between two different funds. We're gonna take money out of two different funds. One had to go through the Board of Works, one had to go through the Redevelopment Commission. So we would have taken for the Board of Works anyhow at the time. We decided to pay for it all out of Redevelopment Commission. So if we do have some overages and need to get funds, the good thing is it's already been approved by the Board of Works, so not a big deal. But the new form I have
You're
has your
saying
signature.
we really needed to have the Board of Works approval on this as well?
Originally, we were going to pay for it out of
Well,
two funds, so
But even now, I mean, they needed.
they don't need to approve it necessarily unless we use some other funds out of it.
Right.
I know Lynn likes everything to go through the Board of Works as well, but statute-wise, it doesn't necessarily have to. The Redevelopment Commission acts as its own board.
There's quite a few, errors in the wording and so forth in this thing. I assume that it looked like green, maybe, I don't know.
I'll tell you what it is, I know after looking at it, and Rick had brought this up to me. So this is a PDF template, and I don't know if you've ever worked with PDFs.
You
But a
can't,
lot of times, the spacing that's why the spacing looks so goofy. I did go through and fix all those spacings on the contract you're gonna sign. But really, it was just a lot of spacing issues, where a couple of the words were combined and one had
Right.
like a typo. So I fixed those spacing issues through PDF. I edited it in a PDF format. But I'm pretty sure that's really what it was just when it was probably a Word document that was transformed to a PDF. And when I got transformed to a PDF, a lot of times those spacings get moved out, or they don't register when you're transferring or transforming it from a PDF. So those are fixed in the one you'll sign.
the word processing error.
Yeah.
It's- Okay, yeah.
I know the city was surprised that we got that many bids and very happy that we could get it done for that price.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at the size of that structure,
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
Mhm.
And we have multiple bids. It was-
I think we had 7.
Yeah, there were 7.
Quite a range, but there were some at the high end, there was a grouping at the low end, and some in the middle, so. When we went back through the bids, we felt pretty comfortable that it was a good bid, that we didn't feel like someone had missed something, because there were 3 within $20,000 of each other. So we felt like it was a good bid. So obviously, I do recommend we approve this contract and get them going.
Jeremy, I have a question. I noticed in the wording here in resolving conflict, it's not a real detailed paragraph, but what would happen should we run into a situation similar to what's happened down at the old Waterworks building, where the contractor says, oh, well, there's stuff there we didn't know about, or we weren't aware of it and they're not aware of it, and I don't think we want to find ourselves in a position like what's going on down there.
No, so the bid is based on the bid specs, and those specs are kind of specified out. So if there are some unknowns, like if we tear it open and there's a big gaping hole underneath that has to be filled in, then they would present to us a change order, and we'd review that change order based on the price for materials and so forth. If they were to come back with something that was unacceptable, then we could basically not do it and contract out with someone else to fill it. But like I was telling Rick, because he asked the same kind of question.
Oh, okay.
The contract, the specifications, we met out there with contract, all those things that we do try to limit that issue. We can't cover all the bases, obviously.
We don't know what we don't know.
We don't know what we don't know, but a lot of times in bids, it'll be bid based on unit price, or maybe bid based on lump sum. So if there's unit pricing in there, we'd have fill unit prices. So even if there was more fill, they would have to use the unit price of the fill. So let's say there was 100 more cubic yards of fill, it would just be based on whatever that unit price was that they bid, that we would pay for. So could there be change orders? Yes, but will it be a situation where you're, unless there's something really unknown, like a burial ground underneath there, we're not gonna get into something that's gonna be huge. It's gonna be, you know, another 15 grand to put some more dirt in a hole because of what we didn't know was there.
Okay, I guess I was thinking something more structural. You know, there's stuff underground that nobody's aware of.
Yes.
Okay, just had to ask the question.
Yeah, and you're
We
right.
discussed that too, about, you know, like under the foundation, nobody knows what might be down there, and run into unexpectedly, and that would require a revaluation on both parties.
If they run into something, they'll produce a change order that'll come back before you. And it will be based on, like I said, could they come back and with an astronomical number? Yeah, they could, but then we could just reject it too.
Okay.
We've never ran into that situation. I mean, we've had change orders, and it's usually based on whatever the unit price is, or we can review it and say, hey, here's their linear price for a pipe. We've reviewed it, and it's what the going rate for pipe is. It's not it's not abnormal. When we did the airport, industrial park, all that sanitary sewer pipe, there was a few change orders, but we were usually within a couple of the dollars of the going rate, so it wasn't anything that was too far out there.
All right, thank you.
You have taken the time to fix the run-ons.
Yes, they're fixed. Well, I didn't fix the
Yeah.
run-ons, but I fixed all the spacing and misspelling. Well, there was one that was a fair, which was actually 2 words. Like I said, I'm pretty sure what happened was this was a Word document that was transformed into a PDF, and when it did that, it just kind of smushed words together.
Yeah.
So
Are you
that's
gonna
been
try to
fixed.
mitigate dust and stuff?
Rick, do you have any objection to?
Dust down or
Sorry.
any requirements?
No, I think he covered it.
Okay.
He and I had quite a conversation on the phone, so.
Right, I was aware of that.
Things can
I appreciate you checking into that, of course. And get that done before we have to get into it in a meeting. So, okay, any other questions?
I was just asking George, are there any requirements for keeping the dust down or trying to reduce, because there are businesses out there, there are homes out there, is there, just asking.
Not beyond the usual, right? I mean, if it becomes an issue, we can deal with it, but I don't, it's gonna come down pretty quick, and it's probably gonna be gone within a week.
Oh,
The
really?
structure, yeah, I mean, it won't take them long. They usually bring something in, bulldoze it down, bring in the truck, dump.
They're gonna take the foundation out, or are they gonna leave the foundation, or?
Yes, but that has to be done in coordination with the environmental group, so they'll take the structure down, the foundation will come out, and then there's some testing and things. And we're still waiting on some concrete sampling, so that's all being, so SES is the contract. Reason we signed the contract with them is they're the ones that were hired through IFA to do the EPA grant work. So it just made sense since they were already on site to do the work for the asbestos shingles. So they'll be working with SES to do the demo based on what's required through IDEM and the EPA.
Wow, that's gonna be some project.
Get out there with your garden hose.
Yeah, it'd be a big garden.
It's nice, actually, where it sits is not, there's not a lot of residential around it. There is,
Yeah.
clear on the other side, but WeFab's not probably gonna bother them or the storage buildings or,
Yeah, it won't be a
It'll
whole
be
lot.
good.
I mean, you have Dean across the street that has some professional services in there, so they'll
Yeah.
do their best. I mean, they're not gonna make a mess any more than any other demolition, but I don't foresee this being a very long, I mean, it's a big building,
Yeah.
but these are companies that do this for a living, so the longer they're there, the more it costs them, so they'll be in and out pretty quick.
When do they look to start?
They have to coordinate with SES. Like I
Okay.
said, there's still some concrete sampling that they're waiting back on. So hopefully sooner the better, because the builder wants to start yesterday. They wanted to start in July, so sooner the better.
Okay. You need a motion on this?
They may,
Yes.
they may wait until the wind's blowing towards Reb.
That was one of the
Start that.
stipulations in the contract.
Based on the changes that Jeremy says have been made, I'd make a motion we approve.
Okay.
I'll second-
With the
I'll second
corrections that
Rick's.
he's made. So noted. Sorry, you seconded?
Mike seconded
Mike
it.
seconds it?
Rick.
Rick made the motion to approve and with the corrections being made, and Mike seconds that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, on the, I'm not aware of any additional business to come before this group. Did you have anything issue you wanted to address?
It's that time of year, so probably in the next couple of weeks, I will be sending out preliminary budgets for next year. Review them. We'll need to approve them at our July meeting, but I'll get those to you ahead of time.
Seems like we just did that.
I know. It does seem like we just did that now. Feel free to use your books on the projects and things that we have and our budgeting and all that, so you have all that information.
Yep.
I'll send you out those probably in the next week or two.
Okay.
I have most of them done. I still got some employee stuff to do. But once I get that out, you can review them. We will need to approve those in July, so if you have any questions, feel free to call me, set a meeting to meet before the meeting, whatever you need to do, so we can work through any issues that you might see.
Very good. Questions for me? Mr. Mayor, did you have any comments you'd like to make to this illustrious group?
No, like you shared, my enthusiasm that we got several bids and that bids came in less than what we were planning on paying, so that's all good stuff.
Yeah. That's very good. Good information.
And we can keep the cost in the redevelopment commission budget. Don't have to spill over into something else.
Yeah.
Because of July 4th, our
Oh,
meeting
yes.
will be July 11th, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, we agreed to that back when we set the calendar for this year. And since July 4th is Monday, I think the first Monday, we opted not to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
holiday.
That's good.
Yeah, and, don't bring any leftover fireworks. Okay. Anything else come before this group? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. George.
Second.
And Mike seconds adjournment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Good to see you again, Joe.
Such a crowded audience.
Thank you, Mr. Editor.